So this is part two of the North American Arms Grizzly bolt handle replacement. The initial idea I had that I described in part one didn't work. And that's because the part that I had selected to use as a bolt handle was not forged or cast steel, it was MIM. For those of you who are unfamiliar with MIM, it stands for metallic injection molding, and it's essentially a process of taking powdered metal and heating it up and injecting it into a mold. And I should have clued into that when I saw that there was a mold line on the part, but at the time I didn't, so whatever. So the disadvantage of that is that it has a very low melting point, and because the melting point is just whatever the binding agent happens to be. So in this case, the solder was basically just disintegrating the part as soon as it came into contact with it, because the solder had a higher melting point than the MIM part did. So what I did was I took a piece of metal that I've been experimenting with, kind of like this. I've been playing around with how to cut threads on a lathe, and I put it on the lathe. I turned a bolt handle, and then took basically just a flat, like a wing nut, but a thumb nut, and then ground it to match the contour of the bolt body, and then I soldered it on there, and then I buffed up my soldering job so it looks okay. I'm still not entirely happy with the way it looks in here. That to me is still a little bit sloppy, but given the state of the rifle itself and the fact that the owner didn't really care what it looked like, I guess that'll do. So that's kind of a home repair that you could do, and it was quite frequently done on these inexpensive firearms: North American Arms, Cooey, J.C. Higgins, because it wasn't worth taking them to a gunsmith to repair. It was cheaper just to replace them. And as I mentioned in the first video, these economy firearms were tools and you couldn't necessarily afford to buy a new one. So if the bolt handle broke off, then you just fixed it yourself. So it's very common to see these types of repairs done. I've seen quite a few. I believe I have some of them posted on my Facebook page for the business. But so that's it. That's the North American Arms Grizzly bolt handle replacement.